Dear friends, welcome to this electrical engineering knowledge sharing channel, AMB Power System Workshop. We are under workshop 1, Power System Protection. Under workshop 1, we have already completed 7 sessions and we are in discussion of session 8, part 2. Part 1 we have already completed. In the part 2, we will discuss about the phase fault, about the earth fault, and then we'll go for the lock rotor, then overheating, and this is the today's agenda. Let's see how much we can complete in 45 to 50 minutes, and then the rest of the protections along with the application of the various protection we'll discuss in part 3 of session 8. Now when we are going for the phase fault protection of AC motors, now phase fault, there are various reasons which can cause the phase fault. Phase fault can be created by shorting inside the winding. Three phase we have already seen. Motor has a three phase winding on the starter. This is a three phase which could be a starter delta connected. Normally it is a star connected. If there is a due to insulation failure or due to any other reason or the foreign material going inside or due to any water going inside or any moisture deposited inside the winding, if these three phases are shorted or two phases are shorted, then there will be considered as a phase fault. It could happen that at the terminal box where the terminals are connected, there could be shorted in the terminal block, in the terminal box itself, that is a terminal shorted can be possible. Then this terminal from here, the cable is going to the switch gear. So it could happen that these cables and the leads and the motor lead which is connected to the terminal box, there could be a short circuit. So there are various reasons why the short circuit can take place, which will be converted to a phase fault. So to protect the phase fault, what do we do? Phase fault protection, in case of phase fault protection, there will be a high fault current will be flowing from the system. This is connected with the switch gear. So huge fault current will be flowing from the system to the motor winding, and which will cause the damage of the motor. So our intention will be the moment phase fault take place, immediately we have to clear the fault as early as possible. Now there are normally two type of protection we provide for this phase fault protection of the motor. One we call instantaneous. There are two ways we can give the phase fault protection. One by overcurrent protection, that is one of the way. Overcurrent protection, that is a 51 or 50, and then there is a differential protection. Differential protection we can provide to protect from the phase fault. Now which protection will provide for which type of motor, that we will discuss in the part 3 application. But now we will see how this overcurrent and differential protection is provided for the motor phase fault. Now this normally provided, this protection we provide, how we provide this protection. Now we are drawing a diagram. This is a switch gear. Suppose this is a 3.3 kV system. 3.3 kV system, there is a breaker over here, and then the motor is connected over here. Okay, and there is an incomer over here. This is incomer. Now what do? We provide a CT on this motor, and this CT we connect to overcurrent relay, IDM to overcurrent relay, and we can connect instantaneous overcurrent relay also. So now IDM to overcurrent relay is always provided for this type of protection. This overcurrent relay, if you go in the three phase connection, how it will be? That will be, this is the motor winding. These are the three winding of the motor. So it is connected to a star. We provide the CT over here. This three CT will be connected over here. It is going to the switch gear. This is a breaker, or it is a MCB or MCCB, whatever the switching device. Now these three are shorted over here, and then these leads are coming. So this is A phase, B phase, and C phase. Okay, and this is a grounded. Now here we provide a 51 relay. Yeah, suppose A phase, this is a 51B and this is a 51C, and these three are shorted and it is going back to the neutral. This way we provide overcurrent protection for the motor. Now if we provide a 50, we can connect 50 also over here in series with this. That means there will be 51 and then it will be 50. Then the CT will be shorted. Then this CT will be shorted and it is going to the, this is a connected over here, and CT, this CT are here. CT is located over here, and then this CT is shorted and it is going going there. So these will be in series, and then neutral will be coming over here, and this is shorted with this. This way you can provide overcurrent, and this overcurrent, two overcurrent, one is IDMT overcurrent, another is instantaneous overcurrent. But one thing we need to know before giving this instantaneous overcurrent protection, we need to know the system configuration. If the system is a very weak system, if it cannot provide enough fault current, then this 50 may not operate. So minimum requirement to operate 50, this instantaneous overcurrent relay, minimum requirement at least the upstream system which is providing this power to the motor, it should at least 2.5 times capacity. 2.5 times capacity by the motor capacity. If suppose a motor is a 2 megawatt, this capacity should be at least 5 megawatt. Upstream system should be at least 5 megawatt system should be upstream, which is catering power to the 2 megawatt. In that case, only 50 may operate, because the system should have to feed this enough fault current. This fault current magnitude must be more than the motor lock rotor current or motor starting current, because this 50 relay when will be provided setting, it is instantaneous overcurrent relay. We know that motor has some, we'll come back to this point, motor starting current and the motor starting current, how much. Normally motor starting current is 6 times of the normally full load current. So if this setting, if we add them, it is a motor starting time maybe 6 to 7 seconds. So this instantaneous relay we cannot wait this instantaneous relay to operate up to 6 to 7 seconds. It is we operate within maybe 100 or 200 milliseconds. In that case, this motor overcurrent setting must be more than 6 times. So if they put the setting more than 6 times, then that amount of 6 times fault current should flow through the system. So if the system has no adequate capacity, then 50 may not operate. That's why when we want to instantaneous overcurrent relay, we have to make sure the system has enough capacity to give a fault current at least 10 times of the motor full load current. Then only the 50 relay will operate. Now, these are the overcurrent protection we provide for the motor. It is a phase overcurrent protection we provide by these two relay 50-51. Now, before going further, we have to discuss about the motor starting current. Why we say motor starting current is 6 times? Because if we have already drawn the motor equivalent circuit last time. If we see the motor equivalent circuit, we have drawn this circuit like this. This is a R1, and this is a starter winding resistance and reactance. Then we have a magnetic circuit over here, but the magnetic reactance resistance is very small, so we can neglect this part. If we neglect this part, then this is a coupling point between the rotor and starter, and this is a rotor reactance, suppose X1, and then we have a rotor resistance is called R2 by S, and then it is going back. This is the motor equivalent circuit. Now this R2-S we can write in different way. R2-S we can split it. It is as a R2, and here we can put a variable resistance. We can put a variable resistance. Yeah, variable resistance. The magnetic value of this, suppose R2 by S into 1 minus S. So in that case, what has happened? Then this equivalent is become R2, because if we sum this two, this is a R2. Plus this is if you multiply this thing, this is R2 by S minus R2. This S is cancelled. So this is equivalent to R2S. So this rotor resistance R2 by S, that we can write down in this way. In this way, what is showing? This part R2 by S into 1 minus S. This part is showing actually the mechanical load on the motor in the electrical form. So this part will decide how much starting current will be there. Now during a starting time, motor is a standstill. And standstill, this S is a slip. We have already discussed slip. S is equal to E. S equal to synchronous speed minus motor speed divided by motor speed divided by synchronous speed. This is the slip. Now when the motor is a standstill, this N equal to 0. That means S equal to 1. So when the motor is going to start, at that time motor slip is 1, and if we put the slip 1, S equal to 1, then what is happening? This becomes 0. That means R2 by S into 1 minus S. This become S is equal to 1, so 1 minus 1, 0, it becomes 0. That means during start of the motor, this mechanical load equivalent transfer to resistance, transfer to the rotor side, this is become 0. That means motor is getting a start at the short circuit condition. So we know when the short circuit condition exists, then the current will automatically very high. That is the reason why the motor current is higher during a starting time. And this current can go from between 5 to 8 times depending on the motor size. But for our discussion, today's discussion, we'll maintain 6 times of the motor full load current. Okay, so this is a motor full load current at the starting time. Okay, so this is the reason why motor starting current is high. Now this is the, so the over condition is that if as the motor starting current is 6 times, so overload relay, this 50 relay which we provide, 50 relay requirement that operation of this 50 relay should not operate during motor starting. As the motor starting takes about 6 times current, so this 50 relay pickup setting should be more than 6 times. That means that amount of fault current, at least 10 times fault current should flow through the relay, then only relay should operate. But this type of fault current should be fed from the upstream. If the system does not have that capacity, then this 50 relay will not operate. So 50 relay application is limited. If the upstream has enough capacity, then we provide 50 relay, and 50 is the instantaneous overcurrent relay, immediately it will operate. But most of the cases where we connect the motor, the upstream has a capacity to feed the motor, because most of the motor we start the DOL, so it has enough capacity to feed the power. Therefore, we provide 50 and 51 both the relay. 50 we give instantaneous, and 51 relay we coordinate with the incomer. Okay, we have already shown this is the incomer, and that is the motor is connected over here, and this motor has this is a CT 51 and 50. 50 is the instantaneous we provide. If 50 fail to operate, then 51 won't operate, but 51 will be delayed because this 51 will be coordinated with the upstream. If there is a fault over here, so if the phase fault is over, the fault current will be seen by this also. So if 50 fail, then only 51 operates. So 51 acts as a backup of the 50. We give some time delay with the 50. It is the IDMT characteristic. So we know the IDMT characteristics. It will operate on this principle. So as the fault current high, its operating time will be less. 50 will be operated instantaneously. Then it may be given some time delay with this. Okay. So this is a instant phase overcurrent protection for the motor. And now we come to the situation of the differential protection. Now it may happen that system has no adequate capacity to feed for this instantaneous overcurrent delay. In that case, instantaneous overcurrent delay will not operate, and only this IDMT overcurrent delay we are providing with a time delay. Maybe in the system motor is so important that we cannot wait for that time. Motor may fail in that case. That is one of the occasion. And if the motor is very big size, in that case also we cannot depend only on the instantaneous overcurrent delay. In that case, we go another phase fault protection, that is called differential protection. Now we have already discussed differential protection for the alternator. Here is the same principle. In case of differential protection of the motor, what we need, we need 6 number CT, 3 number CT. One is each phase has a 2 number CT. One is the motor line side, another is the motor neutral side. So if we draw the motor winding, this is the motor 3 winding. So this is a neutral side. So we have to put a CT over here, 3 CT over here, and this is the line side. That is the A. That is a B, and this is a C line side. There will be 3 CT over here. Okay, so this 3 CT are shorted, this 3 CT are shorted over here, and so this end is coming out. This is coming out. So this is a one, yeah. This is a neutral side, yeah. This is a neutral is coming over here. This 3 CT neutral and this 3 is neutral. These are connected. This is a neutral connected over here, and this phase 3 side is coming. This is one phase is coming over here. This second phase is coming over here, and third phase is coming over here. Right? These are the connection. Now this relay will be connected over here. 87 differential relay. There will be a restraining coil over here. Sorry, here in this phase. This is A phase. It is a neutral point. So A phase, there will be a restraining coil over here for restraining this. Similarly, here will be restraining. B phase will be connected over here, 87B, and this 87C will be connected over here. 87C will be connected over here, and there will be restraining coil over here. So this will be the differential protection. In that case, all the CT will be identical and it will be high range, but CT saturation shall not be there. That is our consideration. The CT will be PS class CT with a high burden, and this saturation point will be very high point will be the saturation point. So CT will not get saturated, and then we will be using the restraining coil voltage percentage restraint to avoid the mismatch of the CT ratio or any mismatch or any spill current that will not pass through the relay. It will pass through the restraining coil. Okay. So this is the basic principle of differential protection. So this protection we provide for the if the motor, it happens that the system has no enough capacity to feed the 50 relay, in that case we have to go for the alternative differential protection if the motor is important and very expensive motor. And secondly, even with the 50 and 51 relay, this for the big size motor, more than maybe 500 kilowatt motor or more than 1 megawatt motor, we provide this differential protection for the motor. So this is one of the, in that case we need to install on the neutral side of the motor. There is 3 CT and this will be 3 CT to be installed. Okay, but if the case is like that, we cannot install the 6 CTs. In that case, alternate differential protection we can make it is called self-bias, self-balanced differential scheme. What do we do in that case? Suppose this is a motor. In the self-balanced differential scheme, we use actually not the differential relay, we use instantaneous overcurrent relay, but we make the connection in the slightly different way. So these are the 3 windings. In that case, all these winding both end will be coming back to the terminal box. This is the requirement to provide a self-balanced differential protection. In that case, we will put 1 CT over here, 1 CT over here, 1 CT over here. Through the CT, it is a ring type CT. Through the CT, both the lead will be, this lead and this end lead, both will come over here, and then we will form the neutral over here. Suppose these are the 3 leads, we form the neutral point inside the box, and this 3 CT will be connected, and this 3 CT, this is the neutral of the CT, grounded, and then we connect the 50 relay over here. Okay, this is a 50 relay, either 3-phase 50 relay we can connect, yeah, and the neutral is CT neutral is over here, it's coming over here. So this is a self-balancing relay. In that case, this CT with a low ratio it will work, because you see here, normal condition the current is balanced. Even the normal condition or outside fault the current is balanced, no current will flow through the relay. Only when there is internal fault, then only this corresponding CT current will be high in comparison to the other CT, then immediately the 50 relay will operate. So this way we can put the self-balancing overcurrent, instantaneous overcurrent protection that will actually act as a differential protection. Okay, this is another way you can provide the differential protection when we don't have the 6 number CT, we have only 3 number CT. In that case, in the terminal box we can put the 3 CT, and both the lead of the both each phase, both leads should come inside the terminal box. In that case, then we can arrange this type of 50 instantaneous overcurrent relay, but it will be working on the differential principle. Okay, this is another way you can provide differential protection. This is for the phase fault for the motor. Now we will go for the earth fault of the motor. In the case of earth fault protection very much dependent on the system earthing condition. How is the system earthing has been done? System means here, suppose this is a switch gear, and this switch gear is getting power from, suppose, upstream transformer. There is a transformer over here. Suppose this transformer is grounded. Okay, now we have the switch gear over here, and this is feeding to the motor. This is one of the case like this. So if this is the case, in that case, if there is a earth fault anywhere, immediately what will happen? Suppose this is earth fault on the motor, in the inside the motor winding on after the breaker, immediately earth fault current will go through this and it will flow through this. This will be the earth fault path. So in that case, in the neutral, so this is a grounded neutral transformer. So we have already seen here we have a 51N or 51G protection is already there. In the incomer here we have a 51N protection we have, and then this motor has to be provided protection. Now if this is solidly earth, then the earth fault current will be very high. But if this transformer is not solidly grounded, suppose this is grounded through a resistance. Okay, suppose the resistance is grounded in such a way, the earth fault current is limited, suppose 100 ampere. So if there is earth fault, it will not go more than 100 ampere under any circumstances, or it could be further, it will be high resistance grounded, maybe it is only 20 ampere fault current is going. So depending on the, and if it is not at all, it is not connected, if there is the neutral is not connected, or it may be delta connected system, upstream this transformer winding is delta connected, in that case there is no neutral, there is no grounding, so no ground fault current will flow. So these are the different scenario can comes into the picture, and depending on that we have to design the protection system. Now let us consider the solidly ground system. In the solidly ground system, what is the advantage? We have a huge fault current, it will phase fault current and earth fault current will be more or less same in case of solidly grounded system. If the transformer neutral is solidly grounded, upstream transformer, in that case what we can do, we can provide here the instantaneous earth fault relay. How we can provide? That is a 50G relay we can provide. Instantaneous earth fault relay on this here. We can provide a core balance CT. You know the CBCT. If this is a cable connection, because all the motors are connected by cable from the switch gear, that is a standard. Now if the cable diameter is such that this CBCT, if this total cable diameter within 200 millimeter, then we can use the CBCT or core balancity. In that core balancity, the 50 relay will be using, the core balancity ratio will be 50/5 always. That is the standard ratio. So with this core balancity, we can, sorry, it is not for earth fault, core balancity, yes. We can provide 50G relay, we can use a 50:5 CBCT with a diameter 200 millimeter is available. And if the cable can pass through this, we can provide 50G protection on this, which will be instantaneous, and it will be working on the summation of phi A plus phi B plus phi C, on this summation of the three current. When the current is imbalanced, immediately 50G relay will operate. So 50G relay, now we need a high fault current for 50G because 50G setting will be quite high, because as it is instantaneous relay, we have to take care during a starting of the motor. The current which is drawn by the motor, we have told it is 6 times, suppose it is 6 times currents, but this current is not symmetrical, it is an unbalanced current. This current will be asymmetrical. If the asymmetrical current, there will be a positive sequence, negative sequence, zero sequence current. Due to that zero sequence current, it may happen that 50G picked up. So that's why 50G has to put in slightly high value, so that this during a starting inrush, this 50G relay should not operate. Okay, so that's why the current should be high value. That's why in a solidly arch system, we can provide 50G relay reliably and it will operate. Okay, that is one of the way. But if this cable, if the cable is such that it is not going through the donut city or CBCT, it is of such a diameter, CBCT is not available, in that case we cannot provide 50 over here. In that case, what we will do, we will provide the instantaneous earth fault protection in different way. In that case, we will put the CT on the face side. Suppose this is a motor winding, this is shorted, we are not able to provide the CBCT over here due to this is the option we discussed, that is the CBCT, and we provide 50G relay. But if this cable is such that we cannot pass through the CBCT, in that case what we will do, we provide a CT over here, 3 CT, and this is shorted and this is also shorted. Okay, then we provide a 50G relay over here. It is a summation CT, it is a residual connection. In that case, if there is if fault current is very high, so this is coming from a system where the transformer is there, and transformer this has a solidly grounded. So automatically what is, no, sorry, it is not here, it is here in this side. So this is a breaker and this is a coming system, and this system has a transformer. This is a star connected transformer, solidly arc, it is giving power. If there is earth fault anywhere here, immediately earth fault current will flow through this, and due to high resistance, the earth fault current will be very high, immediately 50G relay will operate. Okay, so this is alternative way. If this donut city cannot be provided and system has earth fault capacity, then we provide 50G relay in this way. But we do not provide 50G. For the 50G, we do not provide separate relay that I am discussing. With the phase city, we use the 50G. In addition to 50G, we also, because you see in that case what is happening, this, if this 50G failed to operate, and if there is earth fault current flowing through this, and this earth fault current will be seen by this transformer neutral, there is a neutral city over here that will be seen, as well as the incomer also seeing the earth fault current. So in that case, if this is the earth fault over here, it may operate. So we do not allow that thing. That's why in addition to 50G, we provide 51N also here, 51N also. Okay. So in case of earth fault current protection, for you, if we either we provide this 50G or this 50G, any one of them. If the donut city is there, then this 50G will not be there. But if the donut city we cannot put, then we provide 50G along with to provide 51N also. This 51N will protect the transformer as the IDMT characteristics, but it can be easily coordinated with others. Okay, it will be backup for the 50, but it will act as a backup for 50, as well as it can be coordinated with this. If this 50 failed, then the 51N operate instead of operating on the incomer side. Okay, so now this city, what we said, it is only if we provide only earth fault protection, in that case 3 city will be connected over here. But if we provide a phase overcurrent as well as earth overcurrent, then we will not use the CT connection in this way. What we do in that case, suppose this is a 3 winding of the motor, it is connected. Now what we do, we provide a CT over here. Suppose this is a, we provide a CT, this is the 3 CT we provide, and this is shorted. Okay, now this end is coming from here, then we provide a 51 relay. suppose we provide first 50 relay, then we provide 51 relay. Yeah, all the 3 is coming. If it is a 3-phase relay, then 1 relay. If it is a single phase relay, this will be 3 single phase relay. Okay. Then this CT we make a shorting, and then this is already short over here. Okay, it is connected over here. Now after this short here, we provide a 50Z relay and then 51N relay, and then it's coming back. So it is equivalent to the previous diagram what we draw over here. So these are the 3 CT. So this is a shorted. So this is shorting this is that shorting, and then these 3 we shorted. Now these 3 we are shorting after the overcurrent phase overcurrent relay. We are shorting the CT output, and then we are connecting this 50. Here we are connecting 50 and 51 in. So in this way, same CT, only 3 CT can provide both phase overcurrent and arc fault. Overcurrent phase fault and overcurrent arc fault we can provide by the common CT. In that case, we can provide it connection. This is the way we do the phase overcurrent and arc fault overcurrent protection for the motors. Okay. So these are the phase fault and arc fault. But in case of 50G operation, we have to look into 50G. We can provide if there is a adequate arc fault. In case of low resistance arc, high resistance arc, or when the arc fault current is very limited, it may happen this 50G relay, instantaneous arc fault relay will not operate. In that case, it will operate by only 51G. Now, in case of unearthed system, suppose this transformer, this is a transformer giving power supply. This transformer is a delta connected transformer. It is giving power supply to switchboard from where it is going to the motor. It can happen like this, or it could be star connected, but the star connected is not grounded. It is ungrounded. It is ungrounded. In that case, what will happen? So if there is an arc fault over here, then what will happen? Then the arc fault current cannot flow. But normal condition, what is happening? There is a charging capacitance between the phase and the ground. So there is a distributed capacitance all over the route. So continuously there is a charging current is flowing through this to the ground. Now continuously, this charging current is very low magnitude. Now if one of the phase, I am drawing the 3 phase. Suppose this is A phase, this is a B phase, and this is C phase. This is a motor winding. Okay. Now if this motor, there is a continuous capacitance for each phase to ground, and through which the charging current is flowing. And when we put this arc fault relay, the arc fault setting is more than the charging current. Now, if one of the phase got grounded over here, then this charging current automatically it will be high for that by measuring, because when there is a fault over here, and if the switch gear has not only one motor, multiple motors are connected. One motor is connected over here, another motor is connected over here, and another motor has connected. All the motors are the same sequence. In that case, if there is a ground fault over here, suppose this is a ground fault, then this ground fault, the capacitance current from these motors and these motors all will be coming together, and then it will be passing through where it will passing back to this. Suppose there is arc fault over here, normally all this capacitive current is flowing through this way to ground. If there is an arc fault over here, then all these 3 current will be joined together, and then it will be passing through this. So if we provide this circuit where we can measure this charging current, and based on the charging current measurement we can provide the protection. If this total charging current is suppose X amount, and during arc fault condition, if there is a n numbers of motor connected, then the total charging current n into X, and we can provide the charging current, the protection of setting of that about 30% of this charging current. By that way, by unearthed system we can protect this motors. This is one of the way by measuring the charging current. Another way we can provide the protection by providing over voltage protection. You know, when there is an arc fault in unearthed system, there is arc fault, immediately fault voltage will be phase fault voltage, or healthy phase voltage will go up. That is, we know from the vector diagram of this. Suppose this is a 3-phase balance system, but it is an unearthed system. The moment there is suppose this is A phase, and this is a B phase, and this is a C phase. These are the 3 phase. The moment suppose A phase has an arc fault, the moment A phase has an arc fault, immediately this phase vector, which will be neutral point, will not be a neutral point, it will be shifted over here. And this automatically when the neutral comes, so this is the new neutral will be formed over here, and then the A vector will be lying like this. Then automatically C vector voltage and B vector voltage will be like this. If this neutral over here, this vector is slightly in this position, B is 120 degree. So this will be like this. So this will be new new voltage, and this voltage will be bigger, longer than this voltage, so automatically C voltage and B voltage will be higher than the normal voltage. And this way, by due to this high voltage, we can measure this voltage, and by measuring this voltage, as the voltage is high, with this high voltage B phase and C phase, we can give a protection. If we provide a voltage relay across B phase and C phase, across these three phases, we put a over voltage relay. Suppose this is the over voltage relay, between this there is a over voltage relay, and between these also there is a over voltage relay. If we provide the over voltage relay, by measuring this over voltage relay, we can protect the motor in the case of unearthed system. That is possible. That is one of the way we can protect the motor. At least we can give the alarm when there is a fault. Immediately phase voltage will become the line voltage. So this, by measuring maximum voltage, can be depend on the earthing factor of this. So maximum value it can go up to the line voltage. So by measuring the voltage of the phase voltage measurement, we can protect the motor from the ground fault also. That is another way, ungrounded system earth fault protection we provide. Okay, this is the earth fault protection and the phase fault protection of the AC induction motor. Now we'll come to this next protection, is a lock rotor protection. Now in case of lock rotor protection, what is lock rotor protection? We have already seen that there are two types of lock rotor protection. Lock rotor can happen. Lock rotor means motor has given a command, but motor is not starting due to stalling. Motor is get stalled due to bearing jam, or there is some maybe the load which is connected to the motor, that is heavy load is connected to the motor, high inertia load, and motor is not able to start that amount of, is not able to provide that amount of torque. So in that case, we have already seen to start a motor what is required. If this is a load torque, and if the motor torque is like this, yeah, this is a, suppose this is a load torque, to start a safely start a motor, suppose this is a motor torque, this is a motor torque, and load torque shall be like this. So, and this will be your operating point. If this is the operating point where the load torque and the motor torque is identical, then only motor will operate. But if the load torque is like this and operating point is this, at this operating point motor can produce only this amount of torque, but load is required this amount of torque. It is a high inertia load. If this type of load is connected, then motor will not able to start the motor. Initially it will start, but it will not run. But in another way, if this other way during starting, motor may not start at all. If this, suppose this is the motor, this is a, at this point motor stand still, here S equal to 1, N equal to 0, motor speed is 0, and at that point if the load torque is like this, suppose this is the load torque curve. So at the starting point, this amount of torque is required, but motor can produce only this amount of torque. So this will be considered as a high inertia torque. In this type of high inertia torque, if it is there on the motor output, on the motor driven side, then motor will not able to start the load, and the motor will not start, load will not start, and we will call it is a stalled condition. Motor is drawing huge current, because during the stalled condition, motor will be drawing the same current as that of the motor starting current. Motor, as this is a stalled condition, motor will be taking 6 times current, but normal starting, the 6 time current gradually decay. This is the starting time is a 6 time, this is a current, this is a time. Suppose, and this is the full load current. Suppose motor starting time 6 minutes. After 6 minutes or 6 seconds, after 6 seconds, motor will come back to the full load current. Starting is this amount of high starting current. But in case of lock rotor, the current will not decrease. Current will be maintaining 6 times. So that is the more dangerous to the motor. So this is one type of standstill condition, lock rotor. Another solution can take place. Suppose motor is running smoothly. Suddenly, one of the phase of the supply, suppose the supply is coming from 3 phase, right? These are the 3 phase, this is a breaker, and this is the motor is connected over here. And the motor is running very good, there is a problem with the motor. Okay, that is the normal case. Now suddenly what has happened, one of the phase, or maybe this conductor got open, it got cut. Suppose the conductor cut, then what will happen? Motor 1 phase supply has gone, only 2 phase supply. In that case, motor will draw about 0.866 current of the this phase current. This 2 phase current will become high, and this current will be very less, and motor will not produce enough torque. In that case, one of the phase get open, or it becomes single phase. In that case, 2 phase are healthy. Motor will draw the current from this 2 phase, and motor current will go up to whatever the previous motor current. Out of that, this current will go about 8.866. This time of current it can go, and with that motor will not able to provide the required torque to run the pump or run the load. In that case, load will come to a standstill. So that is also lock rotor condition. So this type of lock rotor is a during running lock rotor condition. So these are the two situations when lock rotor can take place, or the motor can consider as jammed, it is not able to rotate the load. So under that time, what will happen? This huge current drawing by the motor, it is trying to start the motor, but motor is not getting started due to this problem or the initial jamming problem. In that case, it will draw 6 to 7 times current and motor will get burned. So we have to protect this condition from this condition, which we call a lock rotor protection. So lock rotor protection, we provide another overcurrent relay, that is we call lock rotor protection. ANSI number is 51S. 51S, we call the 51S is we call the lock rotor protection. 51S, this is the lock rotor protection. This lock rotor protection is actually overcurrent protection, but this lock rotor, how does it work? It monitor continuously the current. It is using with a timer. Okay. Now the lock rotor protection setting we provide above the motor starting current. We have said already motor starting current is suppose 6 times, but the motor starting current is decaying with the time. This is a current and this is a time. Suppose motor starting time is 10 seconds. So after 10 seconds, suppose this is a 10 second. After 10 seconds, motor will come to the full load current. This is a full load current, FLC. And this is our starting current, maybe 6 times. This is a 6 times of the full load current. So a starting current is full load current. If the time is 10 seconds in motor starting time. So if we see we'll give the 6 times the full load current. But if the motor fail to start, then this current will be maintaining. So if we see that we'll give a 51 overcurrent relay pickup setting, more than suppose we are giving 7.5 times setting. So at 6 time current it will not pick up, or we will give a pickup setting, maybe if it is a lock rotor current or a starting current 6 times, we will give a setting maybe 5 times. 5 times we will give the 51 setting. With the 5 times current, the relay will pick up, but we will use a 51 relay with a timer, and we will give a time setting. This 51 will pick up, but it will not operate till the time is passed. The moment 10 seconds is over, we will give a timer setting 12 seconds. So what we will see, 51 is picked up at the 5 times current. But if this current maintained for 12 seconds, then only it will operate. But the moment the current dropping, suppose after 1-2 seconds current drop to 3 times, then what will happen? Immediately the relay will drop. So it will not operate. So we will allow to operate the relay, but it will using with a timer, and the timer will be given more than the starting time. So till the starting time is not over, this relay, even it is picked up and maintain the current 6 times, then it will remain picked up and it will wait for the starting time pass. The moment the starting time pass, then it will operate. But in that case, we have to see whether that amount of current motor can withstand or not. If the motor withstanding time of 6 time current, if less than 10 seconds, then we have to go by the other means to protect the motor. If the motor withstand time for 6 time current is more than 10 seconds, then we can use this overcurrent relay with a timer for lock rotor protection. Okay. And in the case of solid state relay nowadays, it's very easy. What we do the programming of a lock rotor. So there is a, the intelligent relay can monitor the current. So it will, the moment current picks up stall current, the starting current comes to 6 times, it will monitor and it will continue the monitor. If within 2 seconds the current is not dropping down, then it will understand, the relay will understand it is a lock rotor condition. So it will not wait for 10 seconds. Before that it will trip. And even in that case also we can, if this current maintains 6 times, we can give the timing maybe 8 seconds, less than the lock rotor time. So starting time, because if this current drop, then immediately this relay will drop, 51 will drop, then I need not wait for the time. So by coordinating the overcurrent value and the time, we can provide the lock rotor relay, lock rotor protection or 51S protection. But in case of solid state relay, we need not to go so much. In the relay, it will monitor continuously the starting current how much. Within suppose 3 to 4 seconds, if the starting current is not dropping, that means there is a lock rotor condition. Immediately, relay will give the tripping command to the breaker. So it will trip. So this way, this overcurrent, this protection is provided, lock rotor protection 51S. Okay. Now the next point we will discuss about your overload protection. Overcurrent protection, we have mentioned overcurrent protection is a fault protection. But overload protection is not the fault protection. Overload protection is when a motor, suppose a motor can take on 100 kilowatt load and we are loading motor 110 kilowatt, 10% more. Okay. That is we call overload condition. So during overload condition, what will happen if this is giving a current of I? So in the overload condition, it will give current 1.1 I. So it will taking more current. So when it taking a more current, what will happen? We know there is motor heating. Heating is I square R, I square into R. The motor resistance is fixed. As you increase the current, automatically heating will be more and the temperature will go up. So overloading, what is the consequences? Due to overloading, insulation will be overheated. And if you maintain, and if this every motor has a service factor. In case of service factor of 1, if the motor service factor as per NAMA motor MC guideline service factor is 1, we cannot overload the motor more than 10%. But if the service factor is, suppose the motor service factor is 1.1, in that case we can go up to 20% overload from the rating point. So depending on the motor service factor, overloading we can, there is a guideline in the NAMA guideline is there. So now we were considering, suppose service factor is 1, so motor we can overload up to 10%. But if we go more than 10%, then motor insulation will get damaged. And we already discussed that every 6 degree rise of temperature, insulation life become half. We already discussed that a long time back during a previous general discussion. So insulation is important point for the motor, because motor normally we give a motor F type insulation, temperature rise limited to class B. That is the insulation class of the motor. So this overloading, if we lose the overloading, then motor insulation will be deteriorated and ultimately the life of the motor will get less. So that's why this overloading protection we have to provide in the motor. Now overloading protection we can provide normally in a small size of motor. If you see the motor starter, there is a thermal overload relay. The thermal overload relay, it could be bimetallic type or it could be solid state type. So what will happen normally, motor circuit, if you see the motor circuit, there is MCB, then there is a contactor, and then this is the thermal overload relay and motor is connected. This is a normal small size motor. This thermal overload relay, when it operates, immediately it will open this contactor. Contactor closing coil, if you see the closing coil of the contactor, there is a overload relay NC contact. There is a closing coil of the contactor, closing coil. So normally this is NC, and so contactor close, getting power this way. The moment this overload relay operates, this contact open. Then the contactor closing coil get power supply, it lost the power supply, immediately contactor will open. This way, a small size motor, we give the overload protection by overload relay. It could be solid state relay or it could be your thermal overload relay bimetallic type. Okay. But for the big motor, this is a normally we can provide by two way. One way of provide by the relay itself. The overcurrent relay which we are using, we can use a long IDMT overcurrent relay. Suppose when we go for the overload protection or the temperature rise protection of the motor, we have to consider two curve of the motor. That is the motor, we already said motor have a two curve. We call it a cold curve and the hot curve. This is a temperature with a stand time. This is a time. Okay. And this is a corresponding current. So this shows that for this particular current, suppose this is a cold curve is always above the hot curve, because when the motor is hot, it can withstand less time. But for a particular current, suppose this is a current, motor withstand time is this if the motor is hot. But if the motor is cold, then the withstand time will be more than this. So motor withstand time will be this amount. For this same current, if the motor is cold condition, means motor is not running, then the withstand time will be like this. So it is a motor withstand time. Now we have to select a relay in such a way, when you go for the over this temperature or the overload protection, we have to select a relay in such a way, relay characteristics will be below this always. For any load from starting, suppose this is your 100% load, this is 100% load, and this is suppose 110% load. This is 110% load. From the 110%, if it is overload, we can go up to 110% overload. After that, the relay, this will be relay curve or the protection device curve. So protection device curve will be always lying below the motor curve, because this, suppose this is the motor is running and at this condition, motor withstand time is, suppose this is a 15 second. Okay. So if this current comes to this value, immediately motor should trip before this. So this is a tripping time of the motor. Suppose this is a current magnitude, suppose it is a 200%. 200% current, motor can withstand 15 seconds. So I have to trip the motor before that. So here maybe tripping time is a 10 seconds. So it will trip immediately. So this is, we have to coordinate the motor protection device curve with respect to the cold and hot curve. And in case of overload protection, motor protection curve must be below the motor curve. The protection device curve will be below the motor curve with the adequate difference between these two, so that it can be protected. Okay. That is for the motor overcurrent protection. Now this we can provide by two way. we can provide a IDMT relay. Here it could be IDMT relay curve. We can select a IDMT relay curve in such a way. In that case, we have to provide a CT on the motor side. What we'll do, this is a motor winding. This is a motor winding, is connected over here, and then what we'll do, we provide a CT over here. If we provide a 3-phase CT, then 3-phase CT will be connected over here with the relay. Suppose this is a 49 relay, overcurrent relay, and then the overcurrent relay will work on the based on the current. It will be current replica, and then the relay 49, this is 51, actually it is overcurrent relay. We select the overcurrent in such way the relay curve will be below this curve. This is one of the way we can do this thing. Other way we can do, we can provide, instead of CT, we can provide a temperature detecting device. There will be PCT, positive coefficient temperature PCT, positive coefficient temperature, and another what, RTD, resistance temperature detector. This is a both the equipment. This device, this is a resistance device. It is a positive coefficient temperature, this material, and this is a resistance temperature detector. Okay, both these PT100 or 120 what we can use, both with the increase, the resistance value of this device increase with the temperature. So when the temperature goes, resistance value increase. So this resistance value, by measuring this RTD will be inside during manufacturing time, we will be putting RTD inside the winding. Generally 2 RTD we provide, 2 RTD or 2 PTC we provide each winding. Okay, 2 numbers. So total 6 number, it will come to a junction box, in the separate junction box. From there we bring to a Wheatstone bridge, because this is all a resistance value. We bring to the Wheatstone bridge, and Wheatstone bridge convert the resistance to the current, and that current we can calibrate in terms of temperature. And when the temperature goes to the more than the Wheatstone value, then immediately it will give a trip command, or we can give a 2-state setting. Suppose this is a insulation, is a B class insulation which is rise up to 130 degree. Suppose 130 degree. So we can give 110 degree one alarm and 115 degree trip, or 115 degree alarm, 120 degree trip. We can take 2 contact. When this temperature come 115 degree corresponding milliampere, then we give a alarm to the control loop, and then we will give a trip command to the control loop. In this way, we can provide the protection of this, for the thermal protection of this motor. Okay, so we'll close the discussion today. We have already completed 45 minutes. Negative sequence current protection we plan to complete today, but we are not able to do it. We'll do in the next class. So today we have discussed phase fault, earth fault, and then your lock rotor protection, as well as thermal or overload protection of the motors. So with this we are closing part 2, and part 3 we will close the motor protection. Thank you very much indeed for joining with this session, and I will be wishing that you will be continuing this in the coming days. Thank you very much.